All right, y'all. So we are public right now. Got the guest on. So today we're going to be doing two different things. We are going to be first off covering a little bit. It's going to be a brief version of Saturday morning tech news. So this is a segment that we're starting where, of course, we're going to be talking about different things that have happened this week when it comes to the tech industry. There's honestly a lot of stuff that's happened. There are way more things to cover, but we're only going to touch on 2 to 3 things again, just to kind of fill this out. The purpose of this is not just to talk about hot topics and hot and popping news, but the purpose of this is so that way we have more of an understanding of things that are happening in the tech industry, because everything trickles down and rolls downhill. Whenever Facebook is having an issue, like obviously Facebook just went down earlier this week, or Meta went down earlier this week. Whenever they're having an issue, that trickles down and it affects millions of small businesses. And millions of small businesses that aren't making money or aren't able to promote their business. It hurts them in a variety of ways where it affects their bills, it affects their families, which ultimately affects the entire economy. And so all of these different things, big and small, that are happening in the tech industry are things that have an overall impact on all of us. But also it lets people know, okay, what companies should you consider investing in? What companies should you consider working at? What company is either about to start mass hiring or do mass layoffs? All of these different factors and components that we might not consider when we just think of news. And so oftentimes a lot of people put news out there and they're talking about celebrity gossip. And it's like that has nothing to do with our lives. It'll never affect our lives in any kind of way. The purpose of Saturday Morning Tech News is to talk about things that are interesting, but also have an impact on our life or could potentially have a huge impact on our life. So Saturday Morning Tech News, then we're going to get to the real sauce that a lot of y'all are here for, which is continuing to talk to the guest, but talking about the hiring opportunity that he has at his company. Full transparency, the conversation is for the that conversation will exclusively be for the. All right, can y'all see the stream? I want to make sure everybody can see it. Okay, I want to make sure y'all let me know, especially y'all on YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm really everybody, but I'm sure the Discord community, I'm sure y'all can see it. But yeah, I want to make sure everybody's good to go while we're having this conversation. But anyway, so the second part of the conversation is going to be the hiring opportunity that's with his company. That part will be exclusively just with the, thank you, Ray, appreciate that. That conversation will be exclusive to the Discord community. The reason why is because, well, I ain't gonna say the reason why, but anyway, within the Discord community, we have a bunch of resources to make sure your resume is up to par, to make sure that your LinkedIn is up to par. To one of the courses that we're actually dropping tomorrow in the Discord community is a transferable skills training. So that way you can highlight. So for those of y'all that haven't done boot camps or haven't gone to college, that you can know based on what industry you've worked in, okay, what are the transferable skills that I have? Also, another thing that we're dropping, actually we're dropping this today. We're going to announce it in the Discord today. We have a lot of resources that are all around our Discord. But a lot of y'all, we've noticed, have been having trouble finding them because we have them listed in the channel. And so they're a little all over the place. So we actually are creating a Udemy course today where it'll have everything in there in proper order. And so all of you in the community will get access to all of those resources, top to bottom. And when you're finished, I promise you, y'all are going to see this. When you are finished, whether or not you've done a boot camp, whether or not you've gone to college, when you are finished, you will be proficient when it comes to readiness for certain jobs in tech. Not every job in tech, but certain jobs in tech that don't require deep technical knowledge or deep technical aptitude. So you're gonna be a bit of a beast, not a super beast, but a bit of a beast. Yeah, and also y'all can start asking questions in the Ask a Recruiter channel that we have, because we have 3 different people that are now assisting when it comes to the Ask a Recruiter channel. I do ask that you go through the Udemy training that we're going to be dropping today. It's short enough that you could go through it in a roughly about 6 or 7 hours. So if you can like take the next 2 to 3 days to go through that, then the questions that you ask the recruiter will have much more depth to them. You won't need to ask like surface level questions like, hey, should I have the open to work banner on my LinkedIn or not? Or should I, how do I even approach a recruiter on LinkedIn? Or how do I attract recruiters, and talent sourcers, because you'll know how to do all of those things. The goal of the community is to make sure that y'all are fired and y'all are able to do certain things on a good level. So then we level up from there with all of the trainings and the coachings we have. And then when you apply to companies like his, you'll be a top-notch candidate that'll reflect well for yourself, but also reflect well from him and other people that are going to be presenting y'all with hiring opportunities at their companies. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Whole lot of talking. Let's go ahead and jump into this. By the way, bro, you are on mute. Just giving you a heads up. Didn't know if you knew that or not. Before we get started, I guess definitely want to introduce you to the community. So can you tell people a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in tech, and like what your role is?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me first and foremost. It's honestly a pleasure. I've been following you for a while, brother. So as soon as you created this community, I was like, I'm in. So so I've been in the technology field for about 4 years now. Prior military, also worked in entertainment and professional sports for a little while. So eventually like making my transition around the same time, I felt like everybody was kind of like making this like mass transition was basically during the pandemic. I mean, I literally was not able to do any kind of creative work. I wasn't able to train any of my clients, my professional clients anymore. Nobody wanted to meet in person. So I had to very quickly make a pivot. And I basically went through a boot camp. I actually went through 2 different boot camps, and they were extremely helpful. And the biggest part about the boot camps is finding one that actually has employment or referral resources. They have partners and things, and then they get you interviews with those partners, right? So sometimes they'll have like different contests. Sign up for anything that you can do to give yourself like a step up above the competition, because you got to keep that in mind. Everybody that's around you, for the most part, is sort of competition. So it's important for you to keep that in mind when you're on this journey to try to make yourself a better candidate. Because yes, you could hope and pray that people are just going to give you a chance, but if you don't have the skill set to back it up, it's not likely. So it's important for you to build those skills up. So that's what I wanted to do. I went through a couple boot camps, took about maybe like 6 months of me going in and out of different camps and learning new skills, getting certifications and things. And then I started working for one company, and I bounced over to another company, and now I'm at my current company.
Yo, that is fire. And what do you currently do in tech? Like, what is your job?
Technology sales.
Okay, cool. All right, so technology sales. And I guess we can say this on a high level before we jump into the tech news, and then we'll spin the block and talk about talk about the hiring opportunity with the Discord community. So what are lists of people, the roles that your company is hiring for, so that way they can at least like prepare for that?
Sure. I actually just pulled that up. Want to make sure we have a consistent list, because I'll keep this in mind. We're always hiring. Like we are always hiring. Technically, and again, we'll come back to this, but technically we are the largest software company in the world. Almost every single person on this stream uses some sort of our technology every single day. I promise you, after I mention the name. So it's a pretty awesome company to work for. So I just kind of list out a few of the positions that I'm seeing right now. Keep in mind, we're not a massive company, okay? So it's about 350 people, I believe. And honestly, when people come to work here, for the most part, they stay. That's a very good sign. That's a very good sign, because it means that the company has cohesiveness. People work together. People like working with each other. So it's a big reason to kind of keep that in mind when you're in your search. So I'll list out a few of the names that I'm seeing, job titles and things. So marketing manager, customer support specialist, program director, data engineers. We do have so keep in mind too, this company is 100% remote. But we do have a few positions that are dependent on location, mainly other countries. So like Europe, just literally all of Europe, and then like the Philippines. But other than that, everything else is kind of wherever you live, whether it's North America or South America. So then we have a program manager, project coordinators, privacy engineers, standards program managers. Does that kind of give you like a good intro?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. And for those that are unfamiliar with some of these roles, and we'll talk about this a little bit more after we cover the tech news. But for those that are unfamiliar with some of these roles, we'll be able to break down a little bit as to what the roles actually are, like what they actually look like. And if you've done a boot camp, what training you have that correlates to that role. So that way, y'all are good to go. Again, we could easily, for the Discord community, could have easily just been like, hey, let's just post that this company is hiring, post his name so you can, use him as a referral and give some basic information. But the purpose of this is so that way we can just in some ways kind of delve into these different roles. And okay, maybe you haven't actually done a boot camp specifically for this role, but you have training in this. And following next week, when we, with the recruiters and other stuff we're going to be doing in the community, you'll learn how to communicate. You'll learn how to communicate the similarities between your training, your knowledge, your background. So that way you'll be able to knock it out of the park when it comes to the interviews and stuff. So anyway, so super, super excited about this. One quick question or two questions I want to answer really quickly. So from Joanne Baptiste says, Cyrus, you asked us to jump into the community on a past post and said we would have access to the LinkedIn optimization section, but I couldn't find it. So right now that is listed in the Breaking Into Tech and Scale Into Tech channel. That's where all of the resources are currently listed. But in about 2 or 3 hours, that will be included in the Udemy course. The Udemy course will be available for the Discord community. So it won't be just a public course that other people can have access to. It is going to have all of the trainings in there. The purpose of it is so that way you all will have a dedicated place where you can see your progress of what it is that you've learned and what you're learning. And there will be a test at the end just to test your knowledge. Something we're going to work on. I'm not going to delve too deep into it. We'll talk more in the community about this stuff. But basically, we're building it out so that way you all will have a progress to see what you're learning, and we'll know specifically what you've learned so far. So that way, as a community, we'll know what other resources to bring to you all. So again, we're building it, we're growing it, but we're making sure that we're constantly thinking about what to bring in to make sure that you all are as proficient as possible. But also communicate to us, y'all. Talk to me, talk to the rest of the team that y'all see in the community, and let us know other things you would like for us to bring for you all. Because we're never going to be perfect, but the goal is to constantly get better and constantly make tweaks to provide more value for all of you. Anyway, all this talking, excited about this conversation we're going to have. So first off, we're going to jump really quickly into this Saturday morning tech news. I'm going to talk about a couple different things, but first and foremost, we are going to start off with something that I'm sure everybody knows about, which is what is going on right now when it comes to U.S. lawmakers have recently voted 50-0 to force the sale of TikTok, despite angry calls from users. So, and of course, this is from from Ars Technica. Shouts out to them for putting up this post. But the House Commerce Committee today voted 50-0 to approve a bill that will force TikTok owner ByteDance to sell the company or lose access to the U.S. market. The Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act, that is a long name for an act. That's crazy. They addresses the immediate national security risk posed by TikTok and establishes a framework for the executive branch to protect Americans from the future foreign adversary controlled applications. So I'll say this quote and we'll jump into it. So in a committee memo, it was said, if an application is determined to be operated by a company controlled by a foreign adversary like ByteDance, which is controlled by the People's Republic of China, the application must be divested from foreign adversary control within 180 days. This is testing. Y'all seeing me struggling to read all of this stuff right now. But anyway, so we'll kind of pause there or maybe even stop there. Definitely want to know from y'all. So obviously y'all know for the past few years, even while Trump was still president, it was a lot of conversations about TikTok being shut down and being removed. They've gone back and forth, but now it looks like that might potentially be about to happen. And it's interesting because even our current president, Joe Biden, has even spoken about removing TikTok or banning TikTok. And so the fact that he's saying that and is showing that no matter who ends up being president after elections later this year, either direction we're going in, we will have a commander-in-chief that is basically not down for TikTok. So definitely want to know from y'all, like, what do y'all think about this? I'm not heavy on TikTok, and I want to be, but part of the reason that I'm not, part of the reason that the Tech is New Black team is not heavy on TikTok is because we've always been hesitant about the longevity of the platform. So, like, do y'all think this is okay? Do y'all agree? Do y'all disagree? Also want to know from you as well, bro, like what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I could speak on it.
Yeah.
One big thing to know is that the bill doesn't necessarily just affect TikTok. It actually affects quite a few other apps that are in the store, in the App Store, as well as in the Play Store.
Yeah.
And these are specifically from countries that we don't do a lot of business with, who have apps that a lot of people across the United States use every single day. So if this bill passes, not only will it affect TikTok, but it's a lot of other apps that people may use on a daily basis.
What I wonder is, because so I'm not a big conspiracy theory person. I think most people, I'm more of a skeptic when it comes to conspiracy theories. People throw out conspiracy theories. I'm like, is that really legit, or does that just sound like that's the case? But that being said, I do wonder, to what degree is it that lawmakers seriously do believe that TikTok or ByteDance really is a threat to our protection? I wonder to what degree they truly believe that, versus how much is it that they are just pissed off that China, and it's of course not China, but that ByteDance, it being a Chinese-owned company, that they basically have a rival to US social media platforms, because the US has been dominating. Like, it's almost like the US, when it comes to social media, when it comes to tech companies, whatever, the US has been like the Atlanta of tech and of social media, where like Atlanta music, has been dominating hip hop for so long. And it's like, it's almost as if the US has felt like, okay, look, we're running this, but man, now our competitor is really popping. So I wonder how much they really feel this is a true threat, versus how much they really just don't want the revenue, they don't want the ad revenue, they don't want the eyeballs, they don't want all of that going to a platform that just isn't a US owned platforms. I know initially, even President Trump, or former President Trump, he was saying, yo, okay, we're cool with TikTok being here, but y'all just have to sell yourself to America, or to American companies, or sell part of your platform to American companies, so that way we will have ownership over it. And so, what do y'all think? So, okay, y'all going a little ham in the comments talking about it. All right, so y'all going ham talking about this. All right, Maurice says, okay, Greatness says, good, get rid of TikTok. Maurice says, TikTok is banned in China. Let that sink in. Whoa, it's banned in China? I didn't know that. Is that legit? Can somebody confirm that? I'm going to have to look that up. TikTok is banned in China. Greatness says, finally, the government is doing something good. Epic Biz says, good, too many vulnerabilities. Kat Denman, I believe everyone should have an email list that includes phone numbers. Okay. I guess, you're talking about, so Kat, I'm assuming you're referring to people who run their business or their brand on TikTok. Sound like you're kind of saying like they should make sure that they're not relying on TikTok. You have TikTok get shut down. A lot of these TikTok influencers. I know a lot of people that are influencers. I mean, y'all know how social media is. There are people that are influencers on TikTok. They're popular on TikTok. You go to their Instagram, it's like they're regular. They don't care about like having a brand or building anything out, which is totally cool. But they seem to be focused heavily on TikTok. Some people are like that on YouTube or on Instagram. And so, yeah, that really would hurt a lot of people, especially if, like you mentioned, if they don't have like that email list or text message list. Backdoor Bobby, politics plays a huge part in this issue, definitely. Joanne says, I don't have a TikTok, but I'm split. I don't like too much government interference, but if there is an element of foreign intervention, it could be needed. Government gaslights so much, it's hard to know. It really is hard to know. Like you can't trust, you really can't trust it. Tech Job Tina says, never been a fan of TikTok. I don't trust it. It's a data grab to our detriment. Greatness as a foreign country is gathering our data. That's the issue. Yeah, I think, and I don't want to like necessarily push for one side. I'm mainly for the banning of TikTok, but again, I'm only mainly for the banning of it because I kind of believe that there might be nefarious activity going on when it comes to our data, and not just our data, but when it comes to the way that they operate. Because I did some research probably about 6 or 7 months ago. There was some content that was going viral, and RC, bro, let me know if you saw this as well. But there was some content that was going viral that was saying that TikTok, whenever you're not on the TikTok app, it's still tracking you, which isn't crazy because most of these apps do that if you give them approval to. But that even if you don't give TikTok approval, because most of these apps, when you don't give it approval to track you off the app, then they can't do that by like our own US governance. They're not allowed to do that. But TikTok, even if you don't give it approval to track you off of the app, it will still track you off of the app. And it's been said, I'm not sure how legitimate this is, but it's been said by many people that TikTok even tracks you doing certain things, like when you're logging into your bank account, or when you're even, it follows like your swipe patterns when it comes to you locking and unlocking your device, or you logging into other platforms. And so if that's legitimate, then that definitely is a huge cause for concern. Bro, did you hear anything about that? Like, what are your thoughts and your opinion on when it comes down to this? And what do you think like really might be going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, no, I think that could be a case. I have to speak very lightly about it, but I think that could be the case. But there's other apps that do very similar, or have very similar features. Another one would be like Temu. I know a bunch of people here have probably bought things off of Temu, and if you have that Temu app, there's a possibility you could be doing the exact same thing. So it's difficult to say exactly what's going to happen. And, we obviously can't see behind those doors unless we're behind them, unless we're the ones potentially having conversations with policymakers. But, in terms of preparing yourself for the next step, if you're big on TikTok, I might start trying to transfer a lot of those followers and people who are interacting with you, into some other form of social media, develop some other form of social media that they can consume, whether that's transfer them to TikTok, or from TikTok to Instagram, to LinkedIn, or maybe getting emails and things like that. Like, just prepare yourself as best as you can, and if you have people that who are actively using these platforms, it's important that you help them prepare themselves as well, because I have quite a few friends that somehow have completely blown up on TikTok. Shout out my boy Jonte. He's gonna love that. But so for him, he has, completely blown up, makes so much money with this. But if this were to be taken away, that's a very large piece of revenue that he would no longer be able to make anymore. That's a big deal. So in terms of helping him, this is something we're already actively having conversations about.
Man, yeah, I know recently, let me know in the comments if y'all saw this or not. Recently, the CEO of, it was either the CEO of ByteDance or the CEO of TikTok was actually had to sit before either the U.S. Senate or the Congress. I forget which one it was, but he had to sit before them, and they were like grilling him basically. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he was doing a phenomenal job answering the questions. And of course you don't know if he was being honest or not, but he at least made them kind of look a bit goofy, because so he's Singaporean, and they kept asking, basically they were asking him questions about, okay, are you giving all of this data to China? And he was like, he kept saying over and over, Senator, like, I'm Singaporean, like, we're not releasing all of this data to China. We're not giving all this information to China. And it's like they kept grilling him over and over, kept asking him about his relationship with China and the Chinese government. And he kept saying over and over, I'm Singaporean. I'm Singaporean. And so I don't know. It's pretty interesting what's going on. Zachary says Pentagon updates, says list of Chinese military companies, including YMTC and others, and TikTok. Oh, so they're all right. So they're considered a Chinese military company. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell like what's legitimate and what's not. All right, so we'll read a couple more of these comments that we're gonna transition over. All right, Brian Hall says, I'm just getting in here, but if you haven't already, I love to hear the info. Oh yeah, no, you're good, Brian. We're gonna transition to that momentarily. Yeah, my Instagram got shut down about a year ago. And it was at that, like, it was shut down, and Instagram, like Meta literally told me I was not going to get it back. Like I went through all of the loopholes, jumped through all the hoops that they said, do this, do that to verify whatever, and we'll give you back access. I did everything. Took a picture of myself holding up my ID, all this goofy stuff, just for them to tell me, yeah, no, your account is completely gone. Like, you're not going to get it back. And I was like, dang, Meta. And obviously I have my Instagram back, but I got it back thanks to the tech community. I posted on LinkedIn. I said, hey, look, I said, if my content has ever blessed you, you know, if you think anything kind about me, and, you know, and you have any connections with Meta, yo, my Instagram got shut down. You know, I care about that. I care about my brand and my platform on there a lot. Can anybody help me out? And I got hit up by like 2 or 3 people in my LinkedIn DMs being like, okay, what's your Instagram? I'm going to work with the team to make sure we get it back. And when I tell you, they legitimately got it back for me in less than 24 hours. It was just back up. And they told me, they say, yeah, we also have it set to where this won't happen to you again. So shouts out to the community. Again, us all being the community is bigger than just, you know, getting a career in tech. It's like, yo, it's really us looking out for each other and helping each other, because them doing that, since then, another couple hundred people have gotten in the industry between last year and this year through me, or through my platform, or through the community that have come on the platform. So it's like things like that matter a lot. It has a trickle effect. But when that happened, I'm not going to lie, I was like, you know what? I need to give way more attention to YouTube and LinkedIn because if my Instagram gets shut down or my YouTube gets shut down, it's like there needs to be a platform, a public platform that people still see what you're doing. But also, yeah, to that point, the email list, the text message list, all the things y'all listen in the comments, that stuff is wildly, wildly important. So, all right, yeah. So y'all going in. Y'all going in on this. All right, y'all. So look, we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the next topic. And this topic is with AI, and specifically what's happening with ChatGPT, Elon Musk, and Sam Altman. Don't know if y'all know this or not, but Elon Musk and Sam Altman have been having a bit of a beef that's been going on. And most people don't know that Elon Musk was formerly, he was sitting on the board when it came to OpenAI. And of course, OpenAI is the company that owns ChatGPT. And Sam Altman, of course, is the CEO of OpenAI. And Elon Musk was one of their large investors early on. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and read through this. So the feud between Elon Musk and Sam Altman explained. All right, so the day after OpenAI launched in December 2015, its co-founder, Sam Altman, sat down with Vanity Fair to discuss what the magazine described as a non-profit company to save the world from a dystopian future. It's kind of the irony. It's like it's kind of taking us into a dystopian future. I love AI. I love all the cool stuff that's happening, but it is definitely looking like it's taking us into a dystopian future. Anyway, Altman talked up his vision for keeping artificial intelligence safe and distributing it widely, as well as his good working relationship with his co-chair, Tesla CEO Elon Musk. I really trust him, which is obviously important to everyone involved, Sam Altman said. Almost a decade later, Musk and Altman are locked in a public spat and looming legal battle that revolves around the end of their previous partnership and OpenAI's creation for a for-profit subsidiary now valued at $80 billion. Musk filed a suit against OpenAI in a California court last week, alleging that Altman and other executives had breached the founding agreement of the company by pursuing a private commercial success instead of working to the benefit of humanity. Yeah. Oh man, it's interesting. So, I mean, what are y'all thoughts on this? Obviously, when OpenAI launched, it was a nonprofit thing. Now it is for profit, and I mean, obviously it's booming. We all know it's booming right now. It's going crazy. I'm actually shocked it only has an $80 billion valuation right now. I think that number is going to be, I think in the next couple of years, it's going to be closer to $500 billion, if not more than that, because it's crazy. Like OpenAI is going crazy right now. And so, like, yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on this? Do y'all think Elon is tripping? The fact that, yeah, he invested in it, he put some money into it as a nonprofit. I've never put any money into a nonprofit. I'm not going to cap. So I don't really know, I guess, why he's pissed off, but I'm sure there's a reason behind that. A lot of y'all are investors that are on here. Let me know if there's like why he would be pissed off about this, or if y'all think you'll be pissed off about it as well. Bro, have you been seeing about this, like the news about this week?
Yeah, I've seen a bit about it. I mean, I think it's because he feels that, his own intrinsic reasons for wanting to, put money towards this thing that he felt so strongly about, and now he feels like uh, you know, the goal or the direction that the company is heading has completely changed, and from what he originally invested in. I think that's his main reason for being so upset. And I don't even know if we could really. I don't know if that's like an ethical thing that you can do, but I mean, he has already sued him. He's gonna, and then Sam is, his team is gonna have to potentially spend a lot of money to fight that case, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. Man, all right, what y'all talk about? Comments. So Star Sky Robinson says, are the college youth and working adults today prepared for a generative AI workforce? No, we're not. We're not. For college kids studying to become coders, will they have a job waiting for them when AI can do coding? Yeah, it's tricky because right now AI is not good enough by itself. Like right now, AI is in its AI is a toddler right now. So think of it this way, y'all. When Instagram first launched, or let's use Apple for example, when the iPhone first came out, think of the first iPhone. It seems so revolutionary. It's like, whoa, what is this device? But you have to keep in mind when the iPhone first launched, there wasn't like an Apple, like there wasn't like an app store with all of the apps and things that you download and you're able to use. It was really a basic phone. It was just a leap ahead of everything else that was out there. Fast forward to now the features are ridiculous, especially the features that are about to come out with our phones, including AI. And so likewise, when the iPhone 1 through 3 first came out, that was the iPhone it was like a baby in its infancy. It was like a toddler. Fast forward to all of the things it can do now, or think of any of these companies in general. OpenAI, specifically ChatGPT, is the same way. It's in its infancy to maybe toddler age. So it's going to be, the actual AI will get smarter with time. It will become more advanced. It will be more intuitive. It's really going to be incredible. Think about a year ago when ChatGPT first blew up versus now. Think about Sora, the generative the video AI that went viral the last couple of weeks. When it comes to the videos, where literally we're seeing different producers of major industries, of major movie industries, that have said, hey, look, I was gonna put 150 million, 200 million into building out this production studio, talking about Tyler Perry. And then once he saw the video, the AI in the video, and I believe it was Sora, he was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. He was like, there's no reason in me putting 200 million more or less dollars into building out all of this production and hiring all of these people if it looks like I'm probably going to end up having to lay them off anyway. And so it's getting significantly better much faster. That being said, right now, it's not at a point to where it's going to like replace software engineers on a massive scale. That's probably something I can't even say when it's going to happen, because again, it's getting better so much faster. It could happen in the next 2 years. It could happen in the next 10 years. But no, that's not the case right now. Right now, software engineers, for the most part, are fine. But everyone definitely should start learning AI and learning how to implement it when it comes to like their own jobs and roles, so that way it can make you more efficient. Going in. All right. So I thought it was an issue that OpenAI was supposed to stay nonprofit, but has been straying away from the original mission. Yeah, they were definitely supposed to be a nonprofit initially. And yeah, that's what they're straying away from. I wonder why that's problematic. I guess it's problematic because once you are now no longer a nonprofit, now you could be a controlled entity. Because now, okay, are you going to bow your knee at your biggest investors? If your biggest investor tells you to do something unethical or that's just downright harmful to people, are you going to do it? And I think that could be part of the issue. I don't know. Does anybody here remember? And bro, I actually love having this conversation with you, because I could tell like you actually are an enthusiast of what's happening in this industry, and I love stuff like that. That's a lot of people that are just working their jobs in tech and they're not really paying attention to nothing, which is cool. But I love when people are actually, it's like, okay, this is my kind of person that's actually tapped into stuff that's happening.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that video that went viral some years ago? This was probably back around 2015, 2016. This was when Mark Zuckerberg had put out something when it came to robotics, when it came to AI, when it came to all types of technology. And Elon Musk said, this is y'all can look this up on YouTube. He was like, "Yo, Terminator could legitimately happen." He was like, "So we need to be very careful and very cautious with how we're moving. That stuff really can happen." And so I could kind of see as y'all are commenting, and y'all kind of got me thinking on some of y'all's comments and conspiracies. I could kind of see why that would scare Elon Musk, because with OpenAI, ChatGPT being so popular right now, and then NVIDIA and their chips that are gonna basically help bolster all of this even more. It's like, man, someone with a lot of money could go to them and say, "Hey, do this thing that's unethical," or give us the freedom, give our engineers the freedom. Don't put limitations on what our engineers can do when it comes to the AI. And man, so it's really interesting. What are some of your thoughts, RC bro, on some of, one, when it comes to this, and two, with the potential threat that could happen, or maybe something I haven't even really thought about?
Yeah. All of it's a relevant question and conversation. Our executive director, because we're a nonprofit, which is something we'll kind of get into, and how we make so much money as a nonprofit. Yeah. So we're a nonprofit. We have an executive director. He actually goes to the White House to have this specific conversation multiple times a year. Just in this last year, I think he went there maybe like 4 different times. And he gives us like kind of a draft of the conversation that they've had almost every single time that he goes. And a lot of times it's been just really about regulation. That's like the biggest part, but standards. So we'll kind of get into that as well when I start talking about the roles and things. But there's regulations and how the market uses a particular subset of technology. And then there's standards with how the market has to use this technology, or how this technology can be implemented across different industries, right? So, I mean, there's obviously, as we know, there's so many different industries that AI could be used. Literally, I need to come up with the email. I can't think of the words to say. Let me hop on Chat GPT, boop, boop, boop. Now I have an email, right? Or something a little more intricate, like I need to provision a bunch of devices for this particular server, and I don't know how to code. So now I can just type in what devices I have, and it'll automatically spit out some automatic code for me. But who's to say that code is up to standard and up to par? Has will actually meet the standards for allowing this company or the server itself to pass licensing, right? So there's a lot that has to go into this. A lot of minds need to be working together on that. That's specifically what we actually do. We have like an AI foundation that focuses just on AI, and it's a lot of companies that work together on creating regulation and against standards. So it's an important conversation because, yeah, I mean, and just to go into it, like based on the conversation between Elon and Mark back then, yeah, I mean, I don't think that could be a possibility. I don't.
Oh yeah,
but it could, right? Yeah. But it could, because we're not the only ones using this technology.
Yeah.
There's other people that could be using this technology and putting it together for nefarious purposes.
Yeah, man. I'm curious, what do y'all think in the comments? Do y'all think that we could, what side are you on? Do you think that we could head towards a Terminator or a Matrix? Because those are the two different versions. Do y'all believe we could head towards a Terminator or a Matrix type of future? Or do you think it's like, no, it's going to be regulated? Don't think it's going to really go that far. I mean, clearly, like somebody who's a Marine Corps veteran myself, I know that the military definitely would prefer to use robots that in some kind of way, they have to have some form of AI to make intelligent decisions, or robot soldiers or Android type of soldiers. They would want some element of AI for it to be able to make split-second decisions. Everything can't be just programmed in there for it to just do one specific thing. And because, of course, we don't want, with any wars and things that we're having, we don't want actual people to be unalived. So with that, it's like, I wonder if that's what would end up happening. Like eventually we would head into types of wars where one, of course, we already have cyber wars that are happening. So one, digitally, we have cyber wars and cyber attacks. But then when it comes to I guess physical wars, if you can even consider it physical, or instead of software type of wars, hardware type of wars. I wonder if we do enter into a future where basically we have robots fighting each other, and then eventually someone's able to hack them and have the robots attack a city. Or I don't know, it sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, but at the same time, if you explain to someone what ChatGPT is to somebody 20 years ago, that would sound impossible. They're like, what? No, there's no way. That's crazy. So I don't know. Let's see what y'all talking about. All right.
Yeah, no,
So
I think it's a legitimate threat.
yeah.
Because in a way, a lot of this is already being used. You could,
Mhm.
we don't necessarily have to get into the war topic here on the stream,
Yeah.
but a lot of people have been saying that Ukraine itself has been kind of a testing ground, unfortunately. With a lot of these new technologies, including AI. And it's true. It's absolutely true. So it's sad to see though, but I think in this world, the country that has the best deterrence first wins, right? Because it also might, you know, show another threat that we have this deterrent, and it's going to deter you from actually doing anything in the first place. That's the goal, is that
Yeah.
that we don't have to have war at all. But in order for us not to have war, you have to have the best deterrence. So it almost
Yeah.
has to be developed if it exists.
Sheesh. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Now I saw someone, and it's interesting that from the TikTok conversation and then even this one, it's interesting how a lot of these things delves into threats, just overall threats for us. And I saw someone posted when I first saw the post up about the U.S. lawmakers voting 50-0. I saw someone on Instagram commented, and they said, I hope TikTok doesn't get banned because I'm in cybersecurity and this just gives us more jobs if TikTok really is dangerous for us. So it's like, it's interesting how the threat of AI, it threatens some jobs, but it also increases the demand for other jobs and other roles. So y'all definitely be looking in the future. If software engineering is something that gets replaced in the future, I mean, y'all definitely might want to look more into cybersecurity because cybersecurity ain't going nowhere no time soon. No time soon. All right, y'all. All right, so look, y'all. So we have some other tech news we're going to talk about, but I do want to be mindful of the time. I want to be mindful of the guest time. I want to be mindful of you all's time. Thank y'all also for engaging in the conversation. I'm going to address a couple of these comments, but then we're going to transition over to the main reason that we're here, which is to talk to him about the hiring opportunities that are at his company, understanding more about his company, understanding, okay, what roles that they're hiring for, also understanding, the best route, the best approach, hearing a little bit about him being at the company, his experience there, some suggestions that he will give you when it comes to applying beyond just using him as a reference. But again, the goal is to make you all top candidates when you're applying for the company that he's working at. But anyway, just a heads up, again, I want to be clear because I'm seeing a lot of y'all on YouTube and on LinkedIn that are saying that you're excited about hearing about this, that part of the conversation. Make sure, because some of y'all that are on YouTube, y'all are a part of the Techpreneur Discord. So if you're on YouTube and you're part of the Techpreneur Discord, make sure that you go on the Discord and you click on the link that's there, so you can be literally in the private chat with the rest of the community whenever we transition over to that conversation, because we're not going to be talking about that publicly on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you're not a part of the community, that is totally fine. All you need to do is literally go and subscribe to the community. Just click the link. You'll see a link in the description to be able to join the community. It is a membership of $107. But once you join, you're going to have access to the other resources. We want to make sure that you all are quality candidates when applying to his company and the other companies of people that we're going to be interviewing. So we want to make sure that you are all quality candidates, that you all are up to par. So that way you're not just randomly applying and it's like, they look at your LinkedIn, they look at your resume and they're like, this is the person that he referred, that he referred to work here. We don't want that to happen. And we also don't want you becoming frustrated, because I see all the time people say, man, I've applied to all of these companies. I've done all of this work. No one is hiring me. And then I'll look at their LinkedIn and I'm like, yo, I would not want to like look at your LinkedIn. Or I'll look at, I'll ask them questions like, okay, cool. Like what skill sets do you have? Like either what have you done in terms of boot camp, in terms of certifications, in terms of college education, in terms of background. And there's no correlation at all to the roles that they're applying to. And it's like, so we want to make sure that you are proficient when you're applying to these companies and that you have the resources that you get in the community to be good to go. The whole purpose of the community is not to help people get jobs in tech, but Tech is New Black, we're blessed that we have a lot of people that are connected with us, whether it's companies or individuals like him that want to put our community onto the hiring opportunities that are out there. So plenty of companies are hiring, but it's a competitive market, like he said earlier. So we want to make sure that you are the top of the heap when it comes to the competition. So again, make sure you join the community if you want to join in on that conversation. I'll give y'all a few minutes to do that before we leave LinkedIn and YouTube. In the meantime, I'm going to read a few of these comments before we make that transition over. Star Sky said, "Are we already in a computer simulation? Could you prove that we are not?" No, you can't. You can't prove that. At least I don't think you can. What do you think about that, bro?
No, not sure. I tend to, I think the thought for me is no, we're not, right? Of course not.
Yeah.
What? How could that be possible? But can you prove it, right?
That's real.
That's tough.
I saw someone say, they said we will know that we're in a computer simulation once we create something that basically is living autonomously. And when I say create something, I mean like a software or a program where there's AI that's operating amongst itself and it doesn't realize it's in a simulation. Like all of the characters have their own personalities and they think that they're like a real person, a real entity. And then it's like we essentially will be watching them live life, almost like a God type of thing. And I'm not trying to sound crazy, y'all. Y'all know I'm a Christian. I ain't trying to sound like wow, but you just kind of follow me a little bit. It's like we essentially could be like their version of a God, watching them operate and them having autonomy and them thinking that they are an actual real person. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, if they feel that they can touch, they can taste, they can hear, they can smell, that they think they have emotions, whether programmed or not, then it does beg the question, like, yo, how do we know that we're not in a simulation? Or really the question could be, okay, what is a simulation? Because, for those that are, believers in God like myself, it's like kind of technically we would be considered a simulation because our emotions, the chemical makeup that's within us, you technically could say it's been programmed in us. Of course, it hasn't been coded in us, but it is in our DNA. It is like actually in us. And so you kind of wonder, like, okay, to what degree? I mean, the universe or the planet in general has laws. There's a law of gravity. There's a law of thermodynamics. And it's like, okay, why are these laws here? Clearly someone programmed these laws to be here. It says these are the boundaries. You can't do this. You can't do that. These are the things that you're allowed to do. And so in some kind of way, you could make an argument that whether you believe it or you don't believe it, we are kind of in a simulation. I don't know what y'all think. I'm sounding a little crazy right now.
No, it's not too far-fetched.
So William says definitely a Matrix smart city situation. Yeah, that's a deep dive into the Matrix lore. All right, I think they would start with an augmented soldiers like RoboCop. Yeah, it's about to get it's gonna get really interesting really fast. That's what's crazy, is that everything is happening so fast. It's happening faster than we can keep up with it. It's wild. Brian Hall says it will be more like iRobot with Will Smith, where a company may make something too advanced and we will be too reliant on it, or too reliant on AI, just like we are on technology now. Ooh, that's true. In the next 3-5 years, we are all going to be so reliant on AI like how we are on the internet. Like it's actually going to be crazy. Shamika says, I think they will use more AI in the military. Greatness says, I'm glad I have skills that can't be done by AI. Yo, we love it. We love it. Latorin, if a robot can deliver pizza to a table, they can absolutely fight a war. And they can deliver pizza to a table. I've been to a restaurant where they do that. Shamika says, I think it's going to be used in law enforcement as well. Yeah, they've actually started. They tested that out in California. They tested it out in California. They started testing it out a little over a year ago. I forget which city, but we discussed it at we did a tech event. It was Texas New Black. It was our first tech event, and that was one of the things that we discussed at the event was the lawmakers implementing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
to the point of
there's actually another city in Michigan, in Taylor, Michigan, outside of Detroit, that is using one of the robot dogs. So I believe they launched it last month.
yeah, that's wild. The biggest benefit to Ukraine is Starlink. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. That's true. Yeah, man. You know what's crazy when you mention it that the war in Ukraine is right now a testing ground for technology where they're like, okay, let's test some of this stuff out and see how it operates. That's actually that does kind of give way to conspiracies about the war and about what's really happening and why we're sending so much money and why we care so much. And obviously, there's other reasons that we care when it comes to our beef with Russia and Russia's beef with us. I'm not trying to get political when it comes to everything because I'm not big into politics. I'm just big into politics when we talk about tech. That's when I start caring and I start becoming curious. James says not so much replaced, but the reallocation of skills. Yeah, that's true. Brian Hall says it may be more into the future. A lot of people are scared to go to AI without human control because people actually think this is a possibility. But this idea of robot control for years before the Terminator. You know, we're not going to talk about this too much, but I am going to just highlight what the next topic was going to be. We're going to talk about Sergey Brin, who is the one of the founders, and he's not currently the CEO of Google. The current CEO of Google is he's an Indian gentleman. I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, Sergey Brin, who's one of the founders of Google, talked about how Gemini, which is their AI tech, how it messed up an image launch where it was doing images. I'm sure some of y'all saw this, where I don't even think they have any examples. They don't have any examples on here, but they were doing images where, like, for example, someone would say, you know, show me I don't know. I can't even think of any examples right now. I'm gonna sound crazy.
An image of George Washington.
Yeah. There we go. Image of George Washington, and it would be like a black woman, or a black dude, or an Asian person. Like they were jacking up all the images, and it's like, okay, it's AI, but the AI is messing up. But why was the AI messing up? It's messing up because the engineers, they've influenced it some type of way, and the AI is pulling from a variety of different sources. So it does show how it's okay if we get to a point to where we're reliant on AI. The reason it is scary, it's not because of the AI, it's because of us. It's because we're flawed. So when everyone, like, for those that are afraid because you think, man, it's this entity that it's heartless, it doesn't care. It's like, I would kind of prefer that, which isn't going to be the case. I'll prefer that where it's programmed to do a job, do a task, and that's it, versus something that is influenced by other people with their own objective, their own views of life, their own emotions, their political takes on things. And so, because that's where the stuff starts to get really creepy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's also, do you teach the AI, or do you teach this machine its limits so that it always stays within its limits, or do you teach what could potentially happen if it were to go past its limits so that it knows that and never makes that choice? It's like a paradigm, right? Like, do you teach the machine that it could potentially make this choice that could could have these catastrophic consequences so that it never actually makes that choice, even if it's directed to? Or do you just not teach it that at all, and you just keep it within its parameters, which could eventually result in it accidentally making the wrong choice? Man. And again, that kind of goes into regulation, but that goes into what we were speaking about before, which is standards. How do we create a standard around this so that when anyone who develops this type of technology, you have to use these sort of standards and regulations in order to keep it safe for everyone?
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like we don't. I feel like we don't know what we're doing. Even the people that are doing all this don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely not. Well, we should all keep in mind too, though. AI is kind of a I don't want to say it's a newer term, because AI in itself is not new. It's just a set of values. It's just a set of values that you teach to a machine, and then it can automate and do those things on its own. That's technically AI. So we've all been like using some sort of AI for years. I mean, this stuff has been around for probably 20 plus years, even possibly longer. But the whole term AI and generative AI and all these other subsets of AI, those are the things that are kind of new to us, especially
Yeah.
for the general public to be able to use and interact with.
Yeah, exactly. No, man, that's some good stuff. All right, so I see a couple questions on here. I'm going to answer a couple questions, and then we are shutting down off of LinkedIn and YouTube, and going to be just with our private community. All right, so someone asked, and this is kind of off the topic, but it's totally fine. Do people work multiple remote jobs in tech to make high salaries? Yes, definitely. There's different names for it. It's either job stacking or overemployment. They kind of look different, but essentially they're basically kind of all the same thing. Where literally, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see I dropped a career conversation interview, which is basically a street interview of me asking someone what do they do in tech, how much do they make, things like that. In that video, he says that he's only making $90,000, but I actually know the dude. He's making over 200,000. He said he's only making 90,000 because he works at 2 or 3 tech companies at the same time, and he doesn't want any of his coworkers or anyone that's like at the company to be like, you ain't making that much money, or why are you saying you're making that much money? And then they start speculating that he's working at multiple companies at the same time, because he does work remote and he's in the QA space. So yeah, no, you definitely could do that. Definitely can do that. Salaries, parcel. Any thoughts on what cyber war looks like? That's like an endless conversation. We can go on for hours with that. How does someone get to a competent and proficient level to compete and win? What has been your guest experience in standing out? That's actually a whole 3-4 hour conversation we could have as well to break that down. That's not like a quick answer. It's called tech stacking. Tech stacking. Yeah, that's probably another term for it. All right, good stuff, y'all. So y'all are leaving a lot of dope comments. Latorian says this is too deep. Yeah, for real. That's real. Yeah. Epic Biz Hero says AI has the engineer's biases mixed in. That's why users have to not input personal data or intellectual property. Yes, so it's the engineer's bias, but it's also the bias that's on the internet, because AI currently, like current versions of certain AI models, they're not just getting information from the engineers, because if they're just getting information from engineers, it would take very long for their AI model to actually become advanced. So for them to kind of cut the line, or for them to kind of make shortcuts, they've plugged it in to the internet. So whether they plugged it into Google, which is the case with Google's AI models like Bard or Gemini or other things. But then, of course, when we talk about ChatGPT, when Microsoft became their biggest investor, they ended up plugging into Bing, which is Microsoft's answer or response to Google, or competitor to Google. And so it's like, and so initially ChatGPT was pulling from Bing and Microsoft, but now I do believe that they are open up to Google now, where they're up to date, at least when it comes to Google, because they were pulling from Google before. It was just the information they were pulling from Google was outdated when OpenAI first went viral. Like the information they were pulling from Google was from like back in 2017. And then I do believe now they're up to date, but I'm not really sure. I haven't looked into it to see when it comes to that. All right, good stuff. All right, so Henry says, sorry to post here, but no one has answered my email from last week. I'm supposed to be in a private group, but the link isn't showing in my Discord account. I greatly appreciate any assistance. All right, cool. So I'm going to ask one of our team members, Aja, I think she is here in the chat with us. If you could do this, Henry, I'm trying to think. So if you can message us on the Tech is the New Black Instagram page, because I can't message you directly, especially because you're on YouTube. YouTube links aren't working on YouTube. YouTube shut down links whenever it's in the comments. So we can't even send you the link on YouTube for you to click on it. So what I would tell you is please DM the Tech is the New Black Instagram page, and then you'll get just DM the screenshot of you joining, or you investing to join into the community. Just DM a screenshot of that with your email. And Aja, if she's here in the chat, I'm pretty sure she's here in the chat, but she's all right. If she's here in the chat, she can let you in. when it comes. Okay, cool. There she is. She said, "Yes, I'm here." Yeah. So yeah, just DM the Tech as a New Black page, and she'll give you access. Just send that information over because yeah, we're about to go ahead and shut down and pivot over because we're actually way behind schedule. All right, look, love y'all. Love this fun first take with Saturday Morning Tech News. We're gonna do more of this, and we're gonna bring on different people. I definitely want him to come back on again because I mean he had a lot of nuggets, bro. You had a lot of nuggets to drop. I love stuff like that. A lot of insights and stuff. So
yeah, man, I would love to. I would love to.
Yeah, bro. I already appreciate it, and yeah, so we're about to go ahead and transition over again, y'all. For everybody that wants to join into the techpreneur community, and again, the replay of this whole conversation as well as the second part, the main sauce, is going to live within the techpreneur community. So even if those of you that aren't able to watch it today or watch it like right now, go ahead and join the community. You'll have access to watch it later. I just do strongly encourage everyone that once we post the Udemy, we're going to post it later today. Please start to go through the progress of the course because we want to make sure that you are all like efficient, just efficient when it comes to this industry and when it comes to you applying to be at the company. So that way you're a top candidate. So we're going to have all those resources in there for y'all to make sure y'all are up to par, top to bottom in every way that we could possibly help you get there. All right, so I will get on Instagram. Also, I'm kicked out on Discord. Oh, you got kicked out. Nobody should kick you. We ain't kicked nobody out yet, unless I don't know. I don't think anybody kicked anybody out. Anyway, all right, love y'all. We about to go ahead and shut down off of LinkedIn and YouTube. Yep. God bless. Let me go ahead and cut this off.